Your move, your move.
What's up guys, it's Rote here and welcome to another amazing video on the channel. So for today, we are back with Invoked. I know, there's been a lot of it in the channel. There's one very good reason. It's my favorite deck, and if I want to show Invoked, I will, because it deserves to be shown off every day. In my books, it deserves to be shown every day. But we are back with the test hand video of Invoked. And there's not really much to say apart from if you enjoy this type of content, do subscribe, leave a like down below, comment. Is Invoked here to stay? I know I say that like every year, but this time could be the year, guys, where Invoked is here to slay the meta. And without any further ado, let's cut to the power shuffling, and then it will be all pretty much one take. So here we are, guys. We are shuffling our very expensive deck. If you guys saw Project Invoked, or maybe that hasn't even come out yet, so a little spoiler. Make sure you do check out Project Invoked when it does drop, or if it has dropped, to know the exact value of the deck that we are playing right now. Hint, hint, it's over £5,000. And how much more we need to spend in order to max rarity it. So I'm going to be very careful in the power shuffling, but I am going to power shuffle nonetheless. Shout out to Cameron Park for providing, or not providing, bringing back these amazing sleeves from Japan. The fire sleeves, and we're here to slay the meta. No way better to do it than in their own skin. We are the wolf in sheep's clothing, guys. Here with the fire sleeves to destroy the fire decks. So I believe we are 46 cards right now. So it's going to be very interesting to see the amount of times that we actually draw our bricks. And hopefully I can convince you guys that Invoked is very, very good this format. We're going to do a couple scenarios, but first let's just do a couple generic going first test hands. Let's start it off. Magical Meltdown, boom, there we go. We don't need anything else. Terraforming, okay, we have 2 Meltdown, a Bestial Magnamute, a Ash Blossom, and a Effect Veiler. Very interesting indeed. So what would I do in this hand? Well, you probably start off with the Magical Meltdown, and I'll put it here in the middle so you guys can keep it on the camera. And I would grab the one, the only Alistair, the freaking Invoker, because he's a G. What would I do next? Well, we would normal summon the Alistair. Use its effect. We would grab the invocation from the deck to the hand. This test hand doesn't have too much gas, so it's going to sort of be a very simple play, but we do have a lot of disruption in our hand, which makes it very nice. And of course, going second, we would have the Bestial to use, we would have Ash, we would have Veiler, but this is going first. So what do we do now? Well, we'll probably just link off our Alistair the Invoker into our Artemis, giving us a perfect light target, allowing us to leave Effect Veiler in our hand. We'll now go Invocation, banishing the Alistair and the Artemis to make our boy Merkaba. Now what we'll do, well, we'll use Invocation effect, put Alistair back into our hand, shuffle this into the deck. And pretty much that is it. I wouldn't use the Terraforming, because if they activate a spell, I would want to pitch it, and I'd rather have the Meltdown in the deck than in the graveyard. So leave Terraforming. We have the Negate with Merkaba, we have 1 Ash, we have 1 Veiler, and we have 1 Magnamute. So pretty nice, and of course, if we don't die, we have all the follow-up in the world. We have Alistair in our hand. We have a Bestial on the field. We have a Light already engraved. We have a Fire engraved. This is a Spellcaster. We have essentially a full OTK almost, in a way, because if Terraforming is in the graveyard, we'll have Invocation that we can search, and then we'll have 3 spells on the grave to do Selene access code plays. If we use the Terraforming, we'll have the Meltdown on the field, and we won't even need the Invocation out of Alistair to have 3 spells in rotation. And very, very beautiful. So test hand number 1 ends on 1, 2, 3 negations and a Magnamute DD Crow effect, which obviously will add us the Bestial Lubellion on the end phase 2, which gives us even more follow-up. All right, that's test hand number 1. We'll probably do about 3 of these, and then we'll do a couple scenarios and call it a day. Let's now put this into the deck, and now let's shuffle the deck again. Make sure I do it on camera so you guys can see that it is fair, and I'm not going to rig, although I'd never cheat because that doesn't get you very far. Plus, this is invoked, man. You don't need to cheat. It is already tier 0 and you'll never brick if you believe in Heart of the Alistair. Okay, so we've shuffled a bit. Let's cut. And now let's draw our 5 cards. We have our 1 Pot of Prosperity. We have a Infinite Impermanence. We have a Branded Fusion. We have a Thunder Dragon Hawk. And we have a Nadir's Servant. Now, this is an interesting hand. How would we play this? Because usually we want to send the Hawk to the grave. Or we want to add the Hawk, actually, from the deck to the hand off the Branded Fusion plays. But this has become very interesting instead. So I'll probably start off with the Branded Fusion. Even if they ash this, we have Nadir, we have Prosp, we have many things to do. So with the Branded Fusion, we will send, of course, the Fallen of the Albaz. And we will also send our Thunder Dragon Dark. Because we cool like that. Sadly, the Dark isn't going to get the value of adding the Hawk, but we're still going to do the combo just to show it off because it is very, very good. Send these 2 to the grave, and we're going to Fusion Summon our guy, Albion the Branded Dragon. I know if we had Meltdown, our opponent would be able to respond to any of this, which is absolutely insane. We'll use Albion the Branded Dragon effect. We are going to banish our Dark and our Albaz. And we are going to make our Lubellion. Now, here would actually be able to chain block, but because we already drew the Hawk, we cannot chain block, which is pretty sad. We'll do Lubellion effect as the only chain link. We'll actually probably pitch the Prosp as the rest of our hand is absolutely insane. Goodbye, Prosp. We don't need you in this hand. And we're going to shuffle back our Fallen of Albaz into the deck, and now we need to get rid of probably the Lubellion himself in order to put him back into the deck to make our Mirror Jade. Bang. Oh, not our Mirror Jade, sorry. Well, we could make Mirror Jade in this scenario, or we could make Draco's Tapalia. We have a choice here. Mirror Jade or Draco's Tapalia. Let's go for the Draco's Tapalia just to have the negate, which is nice. Plus, we already have access to the Dogmatica engine because we drew the Nadir's Servant. So, nice. Now, what can we do? Well, we're going to pitch our Hawk, revive back our Dark, and now tribute off Dark. And we are going to make a Floodgate of the format, our Thunder Dragon Colossus. So opponent cannot add cards from the deck to the hand. We have a negate established, and we still have the Nadir's Servant to go. Activate Nadir's Servant. We're going to send the Ash Dragon to the graveyard. We're going to add to our hand the Dogmatica Ecclesia. Such a lovely engine in Invoked. It works so well, being able to get fusions in the graveyard while also extending your plays. And those fusions obviously being able to be used for Agoides later on. Grab the Ecclesia. We are now locked out of the extra deck. Big whoop. We're going to special summon our Ecclesia. We're going to use the Ecclesia effect. And we're going to add not Fleur de Lis, because we want to grab that in the end phase, and we play 2 targets for this exact scenario. We are going to add our Dogmatica Punishment in beautiful QCR. Now, we can set 2 cards, one of them being another negate in the Impum and the Dogmatica Punishment. And now we move to the end phase, where Ash Dragon is going to trigger. And it's going to add us our Dogmatica Fleur de Lis for an extra negate. Just like that. And remember, if our Colossus was to be outed by battle or card effect, we can protect him by banishing the Thunder Dragon Hawk. And then you can shuffle a number of cards from your hand into the deck and draw the same amount. So if we don't need the Fleur de Lis, we can effectively mulligan it away and get a draw. So this is the end board with this current hand. We have our opponent's drawn and lockbirded. We have a quick effect negate or a monster. We have a quick effect negate, well, a infinite impermanence negate of a monster and column if they're not careful. We have a Dogmatica Punishment, which is a pop 2. because we can send the Enters from grave, and then we have the Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis, which is a negate summon in the same chain, non-targeting as well. Didn't get to see Alistair the Invoker. Maybe the Pros could have got us there, but we needed to discard a card for the Dubellion play. Just curiosity, if we did Pros for, let's say, 3, would we hit the Alistair the Invoker as we still have the normal summon? We would not, but we'd hit the Bestial Dubellion, which would be pretty good, because you could pitch Dubellion, grab a Magnamute, tribute off the Albion, summon the Dubellion, place the Branded Regained, and then end phase grab yourself a Branded Fusion for future discard fodder. So the Pros would have gone pretty nice, but obviously I'd rather the guaranteed negations and interruption than a risk of prosperity. So that was hand number 2. Let's do another hand. That hand went very well. Let's show off another hand. Let's put this at the top here. Bang. Let's put the fusions away. I have a very OCD way of doing it, so I got to put them back in order. If not, my brain hurts. And now the Draco's Depalia, like that. All right, so everything's at the top. Probably give it another power shuffle here. Probably wise to do that. Let's do it very carefully, as these are expensive cards. Love Invoked, guys. I don't know why Normal Summon Alistair makes me the happiest guy in the world. I aim to be the best Yugi tuber with an Invoked deck. That's my goal, and I will not stop until I get that. I also want to have the world's most expensive Invoked deck, and I'm going to work towards that, and that's what the point of Project Invoked is. So, it's been power shuffled. Now we're going to shuffle it a couple more times, just for the randomness sake. We'll even do a card, so let's simulate a opponent actually power shuffling normally, and then cutting our deck a couple times as if we were going against a real opponent. Bang. Now we're going to go first again. Let's see what we draw. A Nibiru, a Invocation, a Magical Meltdown, a Bestial Magnamute, and a Nadir's Servant. Now, we drew the Invocation, despite being in a 46 card deck, but that stuff just happens sometimes. If we didn't have the Meltdown, but we had Branded Fusion, we would still have full Invoked combo. Make sure you check out one of my combo guides on how to see that, because we could send Alistair the Invoker to the graveyard, and then pitch the Nibiru, and boom, right there, Macabre, banish the Invocation, or return the Invocation to the deck, grab back the banished Alistair, and then we are fine. But didn't work out that way. Let's start off with a Magical Meltdown, grabbing our Alistair the Invoker. Now, sadly, we cannot declare Alistair here, which sucks, because usually our opponent would interrupt it, so we would get rid of a hand trap perfectly if we played a second Invocation, but we don't. So, normal summon Alistair, no effect. Now, what do? Well, we will simply link off into a Artemis. We're going to use the Invocation now, and we're going to banish the Alistair and the Artemis. We are going to make our Invoked Macabre. Now, what would I do? Well, I would probably just straight away put the Invocation. I actually don't want to put the Invocation back in the deck, because I kind of want to draw a card as well off the Garura, because we have that option. Let's leave the Invocation here for now. We could always do it at a later point. Let's now commit to the Nadir's Servant. Now, here again, we have a choice. We could draw a card with Garura, or we could send the Ash Dragon and grab the Fleur-de-Lis for the end phase. Search with Ash Dragon, grab the Fleur-de-Lis. Since we are already committing to the Nadir's Servant and we are going to be locked out of our extra deck, we should probably send the Ash Dragon here to get the guaranteed negation. Because if we draw a Branded Fusion or if we draw a Fenrir, it's a bit dead right now. So let's send the Nadir's Servant. Let's grab the Ecclesia, which is going to be a very similar play to last time. We can now special summon the Ecclesia because it's a monster summon from the extra deck. Use the Ecclesia effect. Grab us the Dogmatica Punishment. We can now set the Dogmatica Punishment. Simply go to the end phase and resolve the Ash Dragon now. And with that, we are going to add our Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis from deck to hand. So, not as powerful an end board here, because we didn't open the Branded Fusion. But it's still pretty good. We have, obviously, the Invocation as well. I always forget that, despite playing Invoked pretty much all my life. I just don't have a way of remembering. So we do that first, go end phase, grab Fleur-de-Lis. Now, what do we have? Well, we have a monster, negate and banish with our Invoked Macabre. We have follow-up in the Alistair. We have the Punishment, which is a pop 2, but locks us out the extra deck for 2 turns. But I still think we would be able to OTK like this because of the Fleur-de-Lis and Bestial Magnum in our hand. That's 5k alone. Macabra's 2-5, Ecclesia's 1-5. We could normal Alistair for an extra k. We got more than enough for game, even if we're locked out the extra deck if our opponent ends on a mediocre board. Pop 2 here. Quick effect, banish from graveyard and add follow-up for the next turn. We have a Dogmatica Fleur-de-Lis for a negate, or summon and negate on a quick effect, which is very, very difficult to actually deal with because you need to bait out the hand. But as soon as you bait out the hand, it's negating something. And if everything goes bad, we have an Nibiru too. So pretty good hand if you ask me. Both 3 hands showed you different ways of playing. We have the more combo-centric variants with the branded fusions. And then we have this version, which is more simple. And of course, the first version, which is very, very simple. Now let's do a couple going second hands. And let's start trying to play through hand traps. I want to show you guys, I want to give you guys a good showing of just what the deck can do. So again, let's power shuffle a couple more times. And now let's go second and see if the deck is able to break boards or prevent boards from being made by hand trapping them to the moon. So 46 cards, remember? So not going to have the consistency of a 40 card deck for the Invoke side, but allows us to lower the chances of drawing our bricks, which are the Fallen of Albaz, the Invocation, and the Branded Regained sometimes. But the Fallen of Albaz, definitely you never want to see that in your hand. Same for the Invocation. You want those in the deck ready to be used when needed. So we've power shuffled. Let's give a couple shuffles and a cut. Remember, now we're going to be going second, so we're going to be drawing 6 cards instead. Fallen of Albaz, just as I said, we don't want to draw him. Branded Regained, straight up as well. Branded Fusion is okay. Forbidden Droplet is amazing for going second. And a Dragon Dark, which is unfortunate because we want to be using that from the deck. So we're going to be doing a hard branded fusion from hand. Going second, what we got? Well, we ain't got any hand traps, but that's okay. What would I do in this situation? Well, to be honest with you, it kind of depends on the board they end on. Because if they end with no disruption, you could always just normal the Fallen of Albaz, pitch the Dragon Dark, and immediately fuse. But a safer play, to be honest with you, would probably be activate Branded Fusion. And if they Ash, we still can kind of push with the Fallen of Albaz. If they don't Ash, well, we should probably activate the Branded Regained first and then activate the Branded Fusion. And then if that's okay, we're going to chain the Forbidden Droplet, sending the Fusion and the Dragon Dark to the graveyard, allowing us to negate 2 things on the field, which hopefully means that this Branded Fusion can resolve properly. And now with the Branded Fusion, we've got to send the Albaz from our hand. So that's it, our hand's gone now. And then we've got to send a second target. In probably, we got to change up the play because we don't have access to a discard right now. So probably sending a Lubellion too. What we're going to do here, well, we are going to just straight up make the Albion the Branded Dragon. We're going to use Albion effect. We're going to be banishing Albaz and the Dragon Dark. And we're gonna, what can we make with this? Maybe we have to banish the Albion as well. But I don't think there's a way that we can then banish the, oh, I mean, we can do Alba. How much attack has this got? Not enough, has 16. I mean, we kind of want the, probably make Lubellion and then have no effect because the Branded Regain won't be able to trigger here. So we have, well, the Branded Regain can trigger, but just not in good time to give us a discard. What we can do here though is go chain link 1 dark, chain link 1 regain, chain link 2 dark, so that we don't draw the Hawk. Dark, since it was banished, will add us the Hawk. Where is the guy? Here he is, Thunder Dragon Hawk, 2 hand, and now our opponent is going to cut a deck because we got to draw a card and hope it's Alistair the Invoker. Bang! Just on time, like he always is. Guy never fails, man. He never, ever fails, I'm telling you. Our opponent won't know we have Meltdown, so let's try and keep that a bit discreet. Keep trying to bait out more interruptions. Let's use the Hawk. Let's reborn the Dark. And now here, if they had something to pop, they would need to do it because now we have access to the Colossus, which is what we'll do. We'll go Colossus, just like that, by tributing the Dark. Bang. We got a Colossus out now. Remember, guys, we Forbidden Dropleted 2 cards on their field, so should be in a decent spot. Now, what do we have? Well, we have the Lubellion as well, which contribute this, and this can get us a... Well, let's put the Fallen Balbaz at the bottom first, obviously, resolving the Regained, giving us follow-up for next turn, because we have the Albaz back in the deck, which is kind of cool. We have the Lubellion in the grave, if need be. Remember, we are locked into fusions now, but that's okay, because we'll activate Meltdown. What are we going to do with Meltdown? Well, of course, we're going to use the effect, and we are going to grab Alistair, the Invoker. What are we going to do with Alistair now? Well, we can't go into the access code route because we are committed into the fusions, but that's okay. We're going to normal summon Alistair the Invoker, use Alistair the Invoker effect, grab the invocation, and now the world is our oyster here, to be honest with you. Probably use the invocation, banishing the Alistair, banishing the Dragonhawk, because we want to keep the Lubellion in the grave. We could also, instead of banishing the Hawk, just straight up banish the Lubellion instead, and that can either make Mikaba or the Agoides, which is sort of the play I want to go for, which you'll see why. Now we have the Agoides effect, which is going to allow us to pop one special summon monster that our opponent controls, which is pretty cool, and our opponent can't respond to it anymore because of Magical Meltdown. Now we're going to use the Bestial Lubellion in the graveyard, tributing the Albion, which I don't believe can attack because it used its effect. Or is that... No, that's just the Lubellion, my bad. It could attack, but it's fine because it's 2/5. We're swapping it out for a 2/5. Why are we doing this, you may ask? Because the Branded Regain is already in the field. Well, that's because now we can do the Agoides effect, banishing the Albion, gaining 2/5 attack additionally. So now it's at 4/5. We'll do the Invocation effect, putting itself into the deck, grabbing the Alistair back. And now this is a lot of damage and potentially lethal, depending on what our opponent has. Because anything that is lower than 2/5 or 2/6 is going to be hit over. And then we have the other monster available to do an attack. And then that's 2/6 and this is 4/5. So that alone is game. If for whatever reason they had a monster in attack and they had 2 monsters and one of them tanked an attack, we could pitch Alistair during the damage step, give this an extra 1,000, meaning it's 5/5 now, guys. It's huge and hopefully enough for game, because 5/5 with 2/5 is 8k already. 5, 6, yeah, 8k, and then an extra 2/6. So we have 2,600 attack leeway before we don't get a kill, which is nice. And we pop monsters on the field already as well, and Forbidden Dropleted their field as well. So that's a showcase that even when you have 2 bricks in your hand, you can still, or 3 bricks if you count the Dark, because we don't really want that in hand. We can still break boards, we can still OTK. Let's do one more, just to show the power of the Invoked. Hopefully show some link plays. Obviously, this is a fusion deck, so we are going to be fusion summoning a lot more than links. But I do want to show you guys, if possible, the link plays. Or if it's not meant to be, it is not meant to be. Only the heart of the cards can decide. So let's give this one more power shuffle. Don't want to keep you guys too long. This has already been like 22 minutes, which is crazy. Hope you guys have enjoyed the video. And if you got this far, hit that subscribe if you're not already. You clearly like this type of video. And let me know in the comments that you did. And I will simply do more of them with different decks. But obviously, I had to do it with Invoked because it's my favorite deck of all time. Okay, there we go. We are now power shuffled once again. Let's now quickly put everything in order. Do a couple shuffles. Tell me when, guys. You tell me when. All right, cool. And now what we're going to do is cut the deck a couple times, make it as awkward as we can, just to try and randomize it even more. Don't actually know if this is doing much, but hopefully it's doing something. Bang. We're going second. We're going to start off with a Branded Fusion, a Dogmatic Punishment, a Nibiru, a second Biru, and a Cash Tira Fenrir. Interesting hand. This is our initial 5 cards. And our 6th card, bang, an Effect Veiler, which is kind of sad because that would have been a lot better than the second Nibiru. Hand is okay. What would I do in this situation? Well, we have a Nibiru, but we can always assume our opponent negated that or played through it. Thing is, in this type of hand, we need to know because we have a Fenrir too. So I guess the worst play for the opponent is us having a Fenrir. So let's assume that the Nibiru went through and they played through it. Let's assume they have like a couple disruptions on top. In a hand like this, it's not the easiest because we have one big choke point here in the Branded Fusion. The rest of the cards in the hand not doing too much, to be honest with you. I mean, because once we commit the Branded Fusion, unless they negate the activation, we are locked. If they ash it, we're still fusion locked, which sucks. So it kind of depends on the hand. Let's assume, because I'm nice to myself, that they do negate the activation of the Branded Fusion. What would we actually be able to do then realistically? Well, we would have to commit to the normal summon of the Effect Veiler, which is very strange play, but you'll see why now. We would then link off the Effect Veiler into the Artemis, link off the Artemis and the Nibiru into a SP Little Knight. And now SP Little Knight could do something, could banish something, and if they chain anything, we'll chain our SP, banish it, and now we can hit them with a Cash Tira Fenrir line in terms of summon the Fenrir in defense or in attack, but remember we can't attack directly, and then use the Fenrir effect to add another Fenrir as such. And now we still have a Nibiru in hand for follow-up. We have a Fenrir in hand for follow-up, and we have the punishment, which will be set. So even with the very, very mediocre hand that this one was, we still have the targeting banish and the pop 2. We would be locked out of the extra deck for next turn, which is sad, but whatever Nibiru we give them, it would hopefully be able, it would be small enough that we would be able to out it with the top deck, which would be a invocation, which is not great. So that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. Remember, we would have an SP coming back though in the end phase, so we would have an SP as well, interruption, and hopefully the SP would be able to banish the Nibiru token. For example, we Nibiru them, they chain or something, we'd be able to get rid of SP beforehand, Nibiru them, they'd have a token, and then we can bring back the SP, and if they activate anything, SP target the token, remove it, and then it would come back with 0 attack. So yeah, not the best of hands, but you did see some sort of link plays. Let me quickly go over them. Well, we played Dark as well. So usually if we have a Alistair and a Bestial, what we do is we link into the Artemis, or we just not straight up link into the Artemis, use the Alistair and the Dark monster in the Bestial, either Magnamut, Soronir, or Druis Worm, to make the Dark steal something, and then Dark and the monster we stole into the Selene reborn the Alistair the Invoker, and now with Selene we go straight into the access code, which would be very nice, because then what would happen was we would have the access code targeting the Selene, gaining 3000 attack. It also has 2 pops, and then we can hit them with the invocation. If providing we have another light or they have a light, remember we can use monsters in their graveyard too. Or if not, we have 1 pop in the Dark, save the light for the invocation play, and an access code talker at 5/5 and a Macabre at 2/5 is exact game. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed these test hand or this test hand video. Let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this, and if you did, subscribe and let me know in the future what deck you want to see test hands with. I was thinking maybe an Altergeist test hand next, or a Battling Boxer one, since I do love those decks. And I'll catch you all in the next video.
It's time! Let's go!